I'm Jason, the world is yours, and today we have a story about Dada 5000 ruled out of return in bare-knuckle bout after Florida commission shuts the fight down. Dada 5000, Dada 5000 will not be making his return to action in November after all. On Monday, BYB Extreme announced that the veteran street fighter would be coming back to compete as part of a card taking place in Tampa, Florida on November 19th, 2022. The matchup was set to serve as Harris' first action since he fought Kimbo Slice in Bellator back in 2016, 6 years ago, which resulted in a loss and in an eventual trip to the hospital where Dada 5000 suffered cardiac arrest. Despite the announcement made by the promotion, the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation has shut down Harris competing in the state due to an indefinite suspension that he was issued in Texas after the medical emergency following his last fight versus Kimbo Slice 6 years ago, 2016. Harris Dada 5000 is currently indefinitely suspended by the Texas Athletic Commission. Mr. Harris will not be competing at the event in November. Florida Commission representatives said Harris, 45, was under an indefinite suspension in Texas, not Florida, but in Texas, which is where the fight with Kimbo took place in 2016 under the Bellator banner. On that night, Harris suffered a third-round TKO loss in a contest that saw both athletes extremely exhausted after some early exchanges on the feet. Afterward, Harris was rushed to the hospital for medical treatment, and he later revealed that he suffered not one, but two heart attacks and was actually considered medically dead for a few moments as doctors fought to save his life. Wow, this story is a little bit interesting. Now, this fight was set to take place in Florida, and his suspension is in Texas. So that's a little bit surprising that the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation has decided to basically follow Texas recommendation and not allow him to fight. A little bit surprised. I don't know how many times has that happened. Do commissions, obviously, like if you're suspended in for if you're tested positive for like a drug in Vegas, you won't be allowed to just go to California, right, under a different commission and be allowed to fight. But this was an indefinite suspension. What was it? For a medical emergency, right? And that seems a little bit much. I don't know too much about this story. I mean, he is 45 years old. He did say he suffered 2 heart attacks 6 years ago. So this fight happened 6 years ago. He has not competed since then. So I'm a little bit surprised that he tries to come back now to compete in a bare knuckle fight. He's 45 years old. I don't know what's going on with this story. There's like so many moving parts. BYB, what is BYB? I've never heard of BYB. I thought this was gonna be under the bare knuckle fighting banner, whatever that organization is called. What is it? Bare knuckle fighting championship? I have no idea. I know it's called bare knuckle fighting, basically, but I've never heard of BYB Extreme. Is that bare knuckle fighting? I've never heard of BYB Extreme. So they were definitely trying to get him on this card by throwing him on a card under a different jurisdiction than Texas, but the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation has taken Texas advice and said, nope, you're indefinitely suspended in Texas. So I guess they're saying that he needs to at least go to get that indefinite suspension lifted in Texas first before they would allow him to fight, I would imagine. So he probably would just have to go to Texas and show his medical records are fine. I don't think Texas would hold it against him because, like I said, this fight was 6 years ago. It was a pretty tough fight to watch. As they said, both fighters were extreme and exhausted. Dada 5000 versus Kimbo Slice. It was a very tough fight to watch. Afterward, he did go to the hospital. I thought the story was I thought he died twice during the fight or something like that. But he said he suffered 2 heart attacks. I don't know if that was during the fight or after the fight, but it was a tough fight to watch. But a crazy story here, like they said, this BYB just announced this news. I thought this news came out today, right? I thought this news came out today that Dada 5000 was going to be on this card, but now Florida has released information saying he will not be licensed. They will not give him, the Florida Commission said they will not give Dada 5000 the license to fight in their state. I'm assuming it's until he at least goes to Texas and get their commissions to take off the indefinite suspension. Because, I mean, indefinite suspended, right? That's not a year or two or anything. Like, they said indefinite. That basically is forever. So he basically, I would imagine he just has to go to Florida and figure out that. So this fight could still happen, right? I would imagine this fight could still happen. We have to figure out what happens with Dada 5000 in the next few weeks. It's been 6 years since his last fight, but it could be another 6 years if he cannot get the Texas Commission to lift his indefinite suspension, because he's trying to fight in Florida and they said no. I'm Jason. The world is yours. Today we have a story about Dada 5000 ruled out of return in a bare-knuckle bout after Florida Commission shuts down the fight. Thank you for watching.